We talked about in part 1 of this series of answering letters about whether or not you should turn your foot on the jab or whether or not you shouldn't turn your foot on the jab. And the answer was yes and yes, in the sense that both are correct. In a way, both can be incorrect. Really, your coach, like I said in the first video, is the one who should have the final say, right? I'm just giving you things that work for me and the mechanics of it, what I think works, being kind of old and still being able to manage to do some of this stuff. Now, let's talk about this. I think it was Sam I Am, I've got the letter over there. I think it was Sam I Am said he couldn't get his hook around on the double-ended bag when he threw a 1, 2, 3, okay? Now there could be a lot of reasons for that. Now before I get into that, you'll see, I'll show you just like some archival footage, because right now I've got my freaking outdoor gazebo and the other shack filled up with junk and by my landlord, and I can't show you, but I'll show you some archival footage of me getting around on the double-ended bag. Okay. Now I can manage when I'm trying to do it fast. I can do it when I even have like heavier 20-ounce gloves. I'm just trying to be smooth, but I can still get around the double-ended bag. I mean, I can do lots of combos off the double-ended bag and still get around. You say, well, I'm having trouble with that. The guy who wrote in, he's younger than me. That, you know, some things happen because you just get better as you practice more. It could be that your double-ended bag actually is strung too tight or even too loose. If it's too tight, just zzz, nobody can get around on it, right? If it's too loose and zinging way out there, it'll mess up your timing so much. So it could just be something as simple as that. But let's talk about, I'm going to give you a little tip that might help you. Now remember when we talked about in the last video of if you turn that foot on the jab, because you're really just cocking your foot so it can go, you can move in the other direction. Off the jab, you'll be able easier to bob under than if you did more of a straight foot step, right? Horses for courses, okay? Now, does that mean you always should turn your foot off the jab? No. What kind of boxer are you going to be? Now, some guys that were really jab heavy boxers, you see, like I said in the last video, Larry Holmes, when you saw him going to his left, Ali, when he would go to his left and he would kind of lean out and kick back, and you know, some of the old heads now, they don't like that. They think it's like showing off. We'll talk about some of that stuff in another video. Hearns had such long arms and he was so fast, you would see him, he would shoot that jab and then he would, you know, come flying, you know, he could come with a straight right. Tell you the truth, with a reach like that, he probably kind of had all the time in the world, but he was fast. He was fast. But let's look at it in another angle. These Mexican boxers who throw just so many combos, the guys like, you know, back in the 80s, well, he was really Puerto Rican, Hector Macho Camacho, just his hand speed and just able to get off all kinds of punches. Juan Marquez. Some of these other guys, even like Barrera, right? He'll throw a lot of combo punches. And you say, well, how are these guys getting their punches off so fast? And also, obviously, I'm sure these guys had no problem on the double-ended bag getting their punches around. But then you say, but they're so squared up. Okay, they're so squared up. So what's going on here? Well, one, they're not as squared up as you think. They're not as squared up as you think. And I want you to look at what I'm doing, then take it out to the double-ended bag. I'm sorry I can't show you on the double-ended bag, but you can see that I can get my punches around. And look at this. If you start throwing all your punches for combos with your turning this foot, look what happens. I turn my foot. I might get a little bit of reach. I might get some extra pop, but I turn my body, right? Boing, I hit that double-ended bag. It's coming back. I've got to get my straight right over the double-ended bag. I caught it, but now I've got to come back. I'm going so far over that, yeah, my combos, they might be hard as anything, but they're going to be slower. Okay, they're going to be a little slower. This is also where you get some boxers saying, some old heads and trainers saying, don't turn your foot. Why? Because they want you to get your combinations off. Now look at this. Now this is something to experiment with. When you're on that double-ended bag, try this. First, try throwing you don't have to go super fast. Try throwing a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, but not making sure that jab off the one, that your foot is going straight. Now, it helps to make sure that you're throwing straight punches. If you start lifting your elbows and stuff, you're never going to get this done. That may help you just right there. So, and it doesn't mean you're getting squared up. It's your feet. It's your feet. Now, you'll say, yeah, but I'm not going to feel fast. I didn't say take the twitch out of your foot. I said don't turn your foot on that combo. Just think about throwing a 1, 2, 3 right now. When you feel the twitch, but because you feel the twitch, it's still in your toe, to your knee, your hip, your elbow. Feel the twitch, but don't turn that foot in, right? So, bop, bop, bop. Now we're going to take it one step further. One step further. And like I said, sometimes I'll throw 4-punch combinations, 5-punch combinations on a double-ended bag. And I mean, I'm almost 54, I'm old. One thing to try to feel, to see if you can do this, try to feel, is that twitch. Actually make it feel like you're turning your toe out a bit. I'm not saying stepping out. Feel like you're turning. Now, you're not really, even though you might feel like it in your head, unless you're a little bit of a mutant and don't do this, but it actually can kind of feel as if you're turning your foot out. When you do it, you're here, bam, bam, bam. Now what I just did, I did take a little step. It didn't feel like I'm turning my foot out. I know I'm not really turning my foot out, but it kind of does feel in my mind that I am, right? The other thing is, when you're throwing that 1, 2, 3 on the double-ended bag, if you're trying to throw that hook with like this, we talked about that, you're not going to get your punch around. You might punch hard and you might reach far, but you might get called for slapping. You're not going to get it around, okay? So here we go. We're back to that question we talked about in the first half of the video. Which is right? Do I turn my toe in or not? Well, if you want to throw combos, if you want to throw fast combos, I wouldn't turn your toe in. Now, so here again, think about this. You're here. Here's the double-ended bag. Bap, right? If I turn it in, bap, look, I'm here. I've got to come here. It's going to be hard to get around. If that twitch, I'm keeping my foot more straight, and even if I'm thinking in my head, I'm feeling it kind of getting out a bit, bam, 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 I'm going to be faster. I'm not really going to get that squared up, okay? So that's something to take with you and to think about, try to do, okay? I hope you saw my feet, and I hope that helps. Now, if we take it to look at some of the boxers today, and when I look at, and here's one thing, the last question was, can you do video on your fight picks? Right now, I don't know. Maybe I'll try to do it today or tomorrow for this weekend, because we got Terrence Crawford coming up against Kell Brook. Oh, that's going to be, I really like Terrence, watching Terrence Crawford fight. Errol Spence, will we see a fight with Crawford and Spence in the future? I'd like to see that too. Sometimes I think, though, and this may be the influence of Mayweather, who you've seen the Philly shell coming forward and see how that foot's so angled. Sometimes I think these guys are angling their foot too much and they're limiting some of their possibilities. When I watch Errol Spence, when I watched him in his last, the fight before the car wreck, right, when he fought Porter, it seemed like a lot, although he's got great fundamentals, he hits like a truck, great body shot. Sometimes when you see him and he's fighting, he's got that foot so angled, I just don't see how you're going to get a fast combo. I can see I can get a hard combo, but horses for courses again. So take a look at that, experiment with it. I'm not saying one is wrong or the other's wrong or the one's right and the other's right. Something to play with, okay? Hope it helps you. Come back, like, subscribe. I'm feeling a million times better, to tell you the truth. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get out there and we can do some other work outside, and also finally with lockdown get with a partner and do some pad works and things like that, but we'll see how it goes. Good to see you, and come back soon.